I don't know where the last 2 hours of my life went, but all of a sudden it was time. But here we are. Thank you
Here
for
we
having
are. Because I can't do anything if I've got something booked. I just float about waiting for this time to come. And then
Yeah.
because you weren't in and it was 2 minutes past, I was like, that, she's not coming.
No, I would never do that.
Not catastrophic at all. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Good weekend?
Yeah, lovely. Very eventful. I went to the march, the Together Alliance March in
Oh,
London.
cool.
Yeah, it was incredible. 500,000 of us. It was incredible.
Actually,
Yeah, 500,000.
no reports I've seen on the news or anything.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it?
Funny that. Not seen anything. 500,000 people. But there
Yeah,
you
half
go.
a million people, the biggest anti-racist march in our history. And it's
Wow.
not in the news,
And it's
yeah.
not better going to TikTok for your news, isn't it? I'll look it up later.
I
So I
mean, it's in
just
the
get straight
Metro
in.
and it's in the Independent, but it's not on the news, yeah.
Wow, right. So I just get straight in. So if you want to introduce yourself to the listeners, I'm very excited about this podcast actually.
Oh, thank you very much. So, my name is Laura. I'm the founder and CEO, which still feels very strange to say, of a charity called ADHD AF Plus Charity, which connects and empowers ADHD adults of marginalised genders in Scotland, England, and Wales. And it all came about because of my podcast, which is called ADHD AF, short for ADHD As Females, which started 4 years ago and has, yeah, unbelievably amassed a load of incredible listeners all over the world called the Leopard Print Army. And it inspired me to do a couple of UK tours and an online peer support community. And those two things combined are what inspired me to found the charity, which has been going a little over a year. We started our first support group in March of last year, and in our first year, we have facilitated 80 peer support groups, unbelievably.
That's so good. That's
I know,
so
I can't believe it.
busy.
I just counted it the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, 80? How have we done 80? That's
How
like the most
cool
one
though
year.
that it kind of all started from doing the podcast.
I know, yeah, it's literally, and it's fantastic because obviously, so the podcast started with my neighbor. So it was two newly discovered neurodivergent neighbors having a conversation about what it felt like and what we were experiencing as late discovered ADHDers. And so for now to be, I created the peer support community where we have lots of online events. So watching that online peer support and then now to be hosting these in-person monthly free groups, absolutely free, to connect people so that they can have these exact kind of conversations. So it's all peer
Cool.
support from the start. Yeah.
Cool story. Do you want to talk about your diagnosis then? So you're late on your, what
Yeah.
age were you?
So it was suggested, very politely suggested to me by a friend when I was about 35.
You're like, what?
Yeah. Well, I kind of just, it was ridiculous because she was, to my mind, she's very, very together. She had it much more together in
Yeah,
than I do, right? So I was like, well, okay, and like everybody else, completely uneducated, I thought that it was naughty little boys. I had no idea that other genders
exactly.
have ADHD. If I'm honest, I think I probably thought that you could grow out of it. I don't know what I thought. So when she said that she'd been diagnosed with it in her 30s, I was like, well, what does that look like for you? Because the
Hmm.
stereotypes I have in my mind don't sync up. And she started to say, her struggles with procrastination and time and, just general organization work, etc. And I was like, well, bloody hell, if you've got it, I've definitely got it. And she was like, yeah, about that,
She's like
maybe. Yeah.
leaving you notes saying you have ADHD. I keep finding these weird notes about, and it's her the full time telling you that. So,
Yeah, so from that point, I kind of I went to find out about it. I went to my GP. They said they would refer me for assessment on the spot, but again, I knew nothing. I didn't know anything about right to choose or anything like that. I was living in Norfolk at the time, and so I got put on a waiting list and very naively just assumed it was like anything else. I just thought that, I don't know, in a few weeks I might hear back and be assessed. I had absolutely no idea that I was in for a long wait. And then 3 years later, I was still on the waiting list, hadn't heard anything else. and obviously this is NHS assessment. And then I moved to Aberdeen with my husband because he got a job there, and his job enabled me to get private assessment.
So you had to go down that route
So
eventually
I went
then.
down that road, yeah. So my weight went from the 3 years it had previously been to just 3 months. And it was genuinely a complete fluke. As I've said, one of the many ways that ADHD impacts me is, well, alongside co-occurring dyscalculia, because as we know, ADHD rarely strikes alone. I really struggle with finances, with
It's
work.
horrible, isn't it?
Oh, no.
I've got that. It's so bad. I can't even look at it.
So yeah, so I would never have been able to afford to go private at all, not at all. I didn't have a penny to my name. So I was very, very lucky. And when I kind of found out how many people, the magnitude of this problem, how much longer the waits even were,
Hmm.
I was like, well, it's not fair that I've just got this fluke because genuinely, and sorry, I'll add a trigger warning, um, I'm very, very lucky to be here. By the point of getting my assessment, it literally came at just the right time because I really was in mental health crisis. I'm very lucky to be here, and statistically speaking, we all are. So yeah, the justice sensitivity kicked in, and I just started
Yeah.
talking about it, and that was it. And here we are, 4 years later.
Yeah. And your crisis at the time, what did that look like then for you? Just a wee trigger warning again.
Well, I think really, I kind of jokingly say I sat down on the sofa and I didn't get up again for 2 years, but I'm only half joking. It
Right.
really was like that. I
Wow.
really could not see the point in my life. I felt like I had blown loads of good opportunities, lost relationships. And from how I felt was that everyone else around me seemed to be doing okay, or
Yeah.
at the very least, much, much better than I was. I can't drive. I couldn't manage a bank account. I couldn't hold down a job, like all of these things that just made me so steeped in shame that I genuinely, genuinely did feel like an alien. I
Hmm.
really did feel like I was the only person that was struggling in the ways that I was. And so that's in part why it was so important to me to get the word out about it, because loads of other people feel that way, and actually they're not alone in it at all.
Yeah.
It's really common, it's nothing to be ashamed of, and we can find ways, even in the absence of actual medical help that we need. There are other ways, which is where creating the charity came in, to get support, because you can't just go it alone. It's dangerous, and it's hard, and it's unfair.
Yeah. And you were saying that you just felt like you didn't fit in
No, I didn't fit in at all, and I couldn't, it really
forever. You always felt like that since like childhood.
hard. Yeah, but I think that uh like obviously ADHD presents differently in every single individual, and we also know that our symptoms can fluctuate and change, not even just throughout our lifetimes and life stresses, but even within what time of the month it is with our menstrual
Oh
cycle.
man.
So for me, like in my teens and 20s as a child, um I did all right at school. But again, as we know, it's that interest, right? So the things that I was good
Yes.
at, I could pay attention to. But then I would really struggle with homework. So, for example, I enjoy writing, so I liked English, I liked history, and the teachers would be like, "Oh, you're doing really well. You're interested in this.
Yeah.
Where the hell is your homework? Where is your GCSE coursework? Why do these two things not sync up?"
Yes.
Was that self-driven study? And by the time, I just lost interest in everything really, because I couldn't direct my attention. I couldn't. On one day, I'd be firing on all cylinders, and on another, I could not pay attention at all. And the frustration that I felt at feeling like I didn't have control of myself, or that
Yeah.
I was letting people down, or all of this stuff. But in terms of my personal relationships and my personality, my, I guess you would call it bubbliness, my
Yes.
enthusiasm, my passion, talking quickly, etc., all of this stuff. Well, that's all right when you're in your teens and 20s. People thought I was really fun.
Yeah, you're fun at that point.
Yeah, when you come
Then,
up to 40 and it's like everyone's grown up and I'm still exactly the same as I was
yeah,
at 14, it
you're
becomes,
like overstimulation for other people who don't have
yeah, but
ADHD.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I'm too much too. 100%. Yeah.
But isn't it funny? Because I felt the same. Kind of growing up, I've always tried to fit like a round peg into a square hole. Like, what's my attachment style? Is it because of this? And do you know, just like going in different directions, like 50 different directions at the one time. And,
Always.
and like you said, like writing to-do lists and like very intricate, but never looking at them for the rest of the week. It's
Yeah.
just like, so what have you learned then that you can give to people who are listening who feel, let's talk about the feeling of the scrambledness. What do you
Yeah.
do for that in yourself? Like this, that where you feel out of control of yourself feeling?
The only thing that I can give genuinely, it is acceptance. Is acceptance that sometimes in certain situations, in certain times of the month, etc., it's going to be like that. You know, we can't try our ADHD symptoms away, and
No.
masking them and trying to fit that square peg in a round hole, it causes depression, anxiety, low self-worth, isolation, and worse, the situation I was in when I was horribly and dangerously depressed. So what I suggest to anybody is that knowing that ADHD presents differently from person to person is really looking at how ADHD presents in you, because although we could experience a lot of the same symptoms like procrastination or time blindness, how they show up in our lives and how they trip us up could be entirely different.
Yeah.
You know, two sides of the same coin. So, you know, does your time blindness mean that you are always late to everything, or are you so hyper vigilant of your time blindness that you're 2 hours early for everything? It's the same thing, it can just
Yes.
come across so differently. So it's always about that self inventory, and it's harder to do than it sounds. You know, it sounds like you just sit there and go, well, I struggle with timelines, well, I struggle, but it's never that. It's like, because I don't know about you, but for me, like, finding out that I had all of this stuff, very obviously, it doesn't just make it go away. It's still there, but in your head, you're a bit like, oh, well, but that's just that thing. I'll just deal with that. I'll just write another list. I'll just,
Yeah.
whatever. And actually, you have to accept and go, no, I'm always going to struggle with these, whether it's 5, 10, 15, whatever things it is that cause you the problems. And then from that point, when you can accept and go, I will always struggle with these things, in my opinion, is that's where you find solutions to best support yourself. So one of my solutions, which is not foolproof, I still
Yes.
do it wrong occasionally. I've got alarms going off all
Oh
the
man.
time. I mean, half of them I don't even know what they're
Yeah.
for. So as I said, it's not a brilliant plan, but there's one of the many things that I do is that, yeah, there's constant alarms, which is really embarrassing if you, like, I don't know,
At
go
an
to
Aldi or
the
something,
bar
you're
or
in the queue
something.
and you're like, that's me. Yeah, no, no for that one for me. But it's just how it's going to, be in your life, like what you said. Because I don't have an official diagnosis because I don't feel like I need one because I just know myself. And when I
Yeah,
started researching, it just clicked in. And I was
yeah,
like, I feel better. I feel sad for my younger self not knowing at the time, which you probably did have that feeling too, because you're like, oh my God, school would have been a lot better if we'd known this. But so I don't feel the need. My wee girl, she's the same. She's on the spectrum, but we're on the waiting list for a long time. And it's just kind of like, trying to have your superpowers, but understanding there is your kryptonite as well that you just need to, like you say, accept. And that,
definitely. And I think, it's not it's incredibly difficult to get a diagnosis. We know
yes.
this, right? So we have to be able to say that self-diagnosis is valid. It is, and it
Hmm.
has to be. And that's not to say that people shouldn't try and get support and shouldn't try and get answers. But whilst you're waiting on a list that in some parts of the UK,
Years.
best part of a decade.
Oh yeah.
Let's act as if right now and
Yeah.
get the support that you need, which is why for our charity support groups, you do not need an ADHD diagnosis to attend. Anybody can come. If you suspect you have, you don't need a piece of paper. We believe you. You know
Yeah.
yourself. Like you said,
Because you're
yeah.
either 2 hours early or you're like 2 hours late. So that's how we know. But you do feel a wee bit in a category of, because people who don't have it maybe roll their eyes because they're like, oh, another person labeling themselves, isn't it? So you feel a bit awkward. But then also the people who have the diagnosis are a bit like that. Well, we have this bit of paper and you don't. So you're just a wee bit like, I kind of like justify it. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously I've got RSD somewhere as well. And I'm
Oh
like,
God, obviously.
obviously. So I have to like justify everything. So I find that a little bit. So we're putting our wee girl in for it first to get her on it so that she just has that bit of paper and she can be like, I have it, here I am. Do you know what I mean? So she doesn't need to defend herself.
100%, and the earlier that people can get diagnosed, the better. Like
Hmm.
in life, I mean, because then you don't have all of the. Um, I've got a really good friend called Nicole Nadler, who's a writer and actress, and she says that when you don't know that you have ADHD, you're an unreliable narrator of your own life. So you don't have all of the answers, but you're writing these stories of who you are in your mind.
Yes.
So you grow. I mean, like you said, have the label, another person labeling themselves. Well, ADHD is a much better label than all of the other ones that I
Yeah.
filled in the gaps with before.
Same.
Useless, lazy, stupid, you know, disorganized, whatever else, right? It's like, no, I have this condition, I have ADHD, and this is why I struggle with these things. And so then you can give yourself that compassion. But like you say, finding out that you have a condition at any later in life, um I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. And it's always on brand. Give me a second. We'll come back to me. And
Will
please, you
it?
don't have to edit
Or do
that
we need to wait
out.
for an alarm to go off? Or is it going to come back?
Totally happy for that to be kept in, because sometimes it does just completely go. But yeah, like if you were talking about feeling sad about how things were and how differently they could have been, I call it grief. So it's grief and relief at the same
Yes,
time, because
that's
you
exactly it.
have the answers, but you're grieving all that could have been and all the adverse experiences, and
Hmm.
often low self-worth, self-chastising, all of those knocks could have prevented. I mean, another thing, you mentioned RSD there, like I
Oh
think
man.
that RSD is at the root of so many of my life's misunderstandings, fallouts, anything
Yeah.
like
Just relationships that
relationships in
should
general,
have
even
ended.
jobs too, even
Yeah.
jobs, because you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get sacked. They think I'm really rubbish at
Yeah.
my job, or they don't like me, or something. And actually, when you can find, when you know that you have RSD, rejection sensitive dysphoria, like it is like, oh, actually, that old cliche of a phrase is don't believe everything you think. And it's
Yes.
true,
A
because
100% it's
everything
true.
you think is correct. So am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, of course.
I really struggle with RSD, and I'll be honest, actually, there is some hope, because 4 years down the line, it is actually a lot better than it was because of the awareness. Because
It's
I've,
the awareness.
yeah, um,
100%.
but when I first found out about it, I wanted to kind of have a play with the words to try and disempower it, and I came up with really shit daydreams. And so when you,
Really shit weird scenarios that you keep putting
yeah,
yourself in. Stop. Yeah.
so it's like the next time that you are down that rabbit hole of, oh my God, I wish I'd never said that, and oh my God, they're looking at me funny, and oh my God, all of this stuff, just sit and think to yourself, is this really true? Do I have evidence for this? Is this a fact, or is this a really shit daydream?
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
the game changer for me was, have you read the book The Chimp Paradox?
Oh yes, yeah, yeah.
And then that's when I realized that my chimp has ADHD and these other things. I was like, oh right, you're hard to maintain. But
Yeah.
it's really like debilitating having that,
Oh
because
God.
like you said, you make up these mad shit things in your head, but they're really real to you. And I think as well combined with the masking, like what you said, see when you're hiding yourself, you start to think that yourself isn't good enough
Yes.
to show the world. And then that really affects your self-esteem and you stop putting yourself in opportunities. You like, it's a really difficult loop.
Horrendous. And the
Hmm.
thing about RSD as well is why it's sort of doubly difficult to deal with is that, we know as part of the human experience, nobody wants to be rejected. Nobody likes being rejected, if that's by a partner, not getting invited to the party, not getting the promotion, whatever it is, rejection sucks. But that's not what RSD is. RSD is about the perception of being
Yes.
rejected. You haven't even necessarily, not only have you not even necessarily been rejected, it literally might never happen, but some of us even feel it physically in our body. So you feel physically hurt, you feel wounded. That's telling your brain, that's doubling down in your brain that this is real. So, we're having this very real experience of something that literally might never even happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And back in the day, like I'm 38 now, so I was probably about 22 or something, and I was like watching programs on OCD and like intrusive thoughts, and that's all we kind of had round about that time. Do you know what I mean? When we had Spice Girls and Gina G, it was also just OCD. It wasn't like ADHD wasn't really spoke about.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? And I was doing a lot of self-medicating. I don't
Yeah.
know about you. Like I
Okay.
was smoking ganja like it was going out of fashion, man, because it was the only thing that made me
Calmed your brain
stop.
down. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like falling into that kind of loop as well of having to self-medicate,
Yeah.
masking, because obviously I'm a personal trainer, I'm a fitness coach. So
Yeah.
I'm like training people during the day like that, you shouldn't be drinking out of plastic, and then I'm going home at night rolling a big massive joint to help myself go to sleep. Like it was like very cognitive dissonance at major.
Yes. Well, you did what you needed to do
Yeah.
to get back to get by to survive. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny though, because as I said, ADHD rarely strikes alone. So many of us have all of these different co-occurring conditions. OCD, like you said, is really common. And all sorts, like I said, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, dyslexia,
Hmm.
um, all sorts, and loads of us have like sleep problems as well. It's very, very rare that anybody just has ADHD. We sit under this neurodivergent umbrella, and we call it in my community, it's like ADHD, each person's ADHD is a different ice cream flavor. And then you have different sprinkles on top. So you could have
Yeah.
like a dollop of, chocolate sauce, which could be the dyscalculia, and then some lovely sprinkles on top of OCD or anxiety. Do you know? So it's
Yeah.
all of these different
It's a
combinations
real pick a mix.
thing, but it's all different. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can we talk a wee bit about dopamine and the chasing?
Yeah.
What were you doing? What did you see before you had ADHD to now knowing that you do like your diagnosis? What were you doing? Chasing dopamine? Were you realizing? Were you like, I'm like weird for this? Is this normal? Did you question it before you knew?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the one of my biggest lifelong struggles is a co-occurring eating disorder.
Hmm.
I feel that definitely dopamine seeking in that way. Definitely that was a massive issue. And there were times when, I would be stuck in this cycle of um how do I explain it? It's a bit like um in terms of nutrition,
Hmm.
it always felt like everything was on a knife edge, like everything was so precariously perched, because every single day you have to make a number of decisions. So, never mind executive dysfunction, on top of that, all of this decision making and choice paralysis and all the rest of it, you've also got impulsivity, right? So
Yes.
you've got impulsivity, which is kind of overriding any sensible decisions that you might want to make, saying, go on, just do this anyway. Why not?
Yeah.
Just do it. Why
Full
not?
tin. We're
And
going.
yeah, and
Hmm.
then on top of it, like I say, that dopamine seeking. And so I spent a lot of time feeling incredibly stressed and being either very restrictive or then falling the other way,
Yes.
just feeling like life was so incredibly difficult, because I was just like, I don't understand how I can sort of live in this way where even the most basic thing of like trying to make a decision of what to eat, or trying to say no when somebody offers you something that you
Yes.
don't want to eat, things like that is so difficult. Life was just really, really, really challenging. Yeah. So I think for me, that is probably the way that dopamine seeking turned up the most. But obviously, I've had a lot of fun. I've been out a lot. I used to work in nightclubs, and I would go out partying a lot. Um, but I think in my youth, obviously, when you are so sort of carefree and reckless, obviously that led me to a lot of pretty dangerous
Yeah.
scenarios.
Yeah.
Um, but as an adult, like I do still go out. Like I go raving
Do
because I
you? I'm terrified to go raving now. I wouldn't be able to. I'd
oh,
recover better
I
from
love
an operation, I think, than a
it.
rave.
So I'm not somebody that gets sensory overwhelm. I'm the complete opposite end.
Yes.
So I'm sensory seeking. So to be in a place where the music is so loud it's vibrating my body and there's flashing lights and there's people and noise and bustle,
Uh-huh.
it makes me feel calm and present, which is very strange, but it's almost quite meditative.
Mm-hmm.
I know for many that would sound like an absolute nightmare, but for me it's great. However, I did realize the other day, because I always say, oh, I don't really get sensory overwhelm. I don't really get sensory. I've realized where I do.
Where?
If you've got loads of stuff in your hands, right? I was at this march on Saturday
Uh-huh.
and I had a placard, a bag, I had a bottle of water, a phone that I needed to take pictures on. And I was literally like, I just wanted
You're
to
like,
explode. I just stood there like, what? All that.
you'll be
Freak
on somebody's TikTok having a meltdown. I'll watch that later. There she is on the news.
out. Too many things in my hands to hold. Drives
That's
me.
funny. I like to find out new things like that when you're like that. Oh, right, okay. There it is there. I like that. So you just found that you, in your eating disorder, you were in that loop of dopamine and then feeling really punishing, then
Yes,
very restrictive.
yes.
Yeah, so common. Like for me, I did do the same kind of thing as well, like the eating the snacks all the time. And I just
Mm.
would be like, my wife, she doesn't snack. And I remember when I first started
What's
dating her, it
that
was really,
like?
what the fuck, weird. Didn't know if it was going to work, to be fair, because she'd be sitting watching the telly and she would just be like, and I'd be away back up. I think I did like 4,000 steps between the hours of 6 and 9 p.m., just back to the fridge, just back and down. And it was hard. She was like, do you know you've like snacked like 12 times? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not ideal.
No, it's not. It's not. And it's funny, isn't it? Because I think it's another one of those things that's like what we were saying about you can't just try your symptoms away. You have to try and have that awareness because, like you say, you would never have realized how many times that was.
No.
And for me back then, I would not have realized why I was doing what I was doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you feel better because you can actually just go, okay, right, that's what I can deal with
That's what
now.
this is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what we can manage and we can do it with. I used to do the nail biting, the skin,
Yeah, same. I
and
have
like,
to have acrylic nails because if
right?
I
Isn't
don't,
that weird that you don't do it when you have your nails done? What's
I
that
know.
about?
I got them. I have to, but they're always like, just get gels. They're much better for your nails. I'm like, no,
You
put
need
the
full
really thick
whack.
acrylics on, or else I'm going to bite through them. Yeah.
Isn't it weird though, right? So the skin and the nails, and like my mum would be like, "Oh my God, your hands like I look mauled," but I was enjoying doing it, and I'm like, "That's weird. Why am I enjoying that?" That's what actually led me down the path. That's how I found out because I was like, "I'm enjoying eating myself." Do you know what I mean? Is
Yeah.
that okay?
Do you know what though? The nail biting thing is really strange because my mum used to say to me, because you sort of look at your fingers and you go, oh yeah, that bit, whatever. And
Yeah.
my mum
Oh,
would say, what is it that you see when you look at your hands? Is it that like, does it look delicious? Does it look like something you
mm-hmm.
want to put in your mouth? I'd be like, no. And it's only years later that I really thought about it, is that in a really most twisted logic way, it's actually a form of perfectionism is that you can see I was always trying to tidy it up like you've got something
No,
hanging
I
over
know. Yeah, yeah. I'll need to.
but you're
Yeah,
making it worse every
yeah,
time so you never
yeah.
get there but in your head you're like oh just sort that bit out and I'll sort that bit
Yeah,
out
I'll fix that by
yeah
mauling it
yeah
more. But yeah, because if you accidentally picked a bit, you're like, oh no, here we go. Because
yeah
we know what's going to happen for the next couple of days. But isn't that weird? I was like enjoying it. There was like blood dripping from me, my hands, and I was
yeah
like, why am I liking that? And it was just the dopamine chasing from doing
yeah
that as well. Must have been getting a wee hit when I couldn't get near the
same
snack
thing
cupboard.
sensory seeking, and it's just for stimming,
I mean, getting a hit 'cause I couldn't get into the kids' play pieces at that time. The kids would go to school and there's bites out their stuff, just bites. Because I didn't eat the full thing, obviously, that would just be crazy. So it was just bites out of all their snacks. They'd go at playtime, they'd be like, bite out of this. They just live like that.
Oh, I love it.
I know.
That's funny.
So my next thing I wanted to chat to you about though is something that I've just came out the other end of just the other now, and that's the burnout thing.
Yeah.
What's that like for you?
Oh, burnout is really, really complicated for me. I almost kind of feel a bit, well, first of all, I just want to say sorry that you've just come out of it. Sorry you've been going through it, but glad you come out the other
Yeah.
side. For me, like I can identify now that I've had some very serious periods of burnout in my life. So when I first started doing the podcast, like I said to you, I've been diagnosed maybe 6 weeks when the first episode went out.
Okay.
So, or medicated 6 weeks. I've been diagnosed a couple of months. And I remember saying at that time, well, I had a nervous breakdown at about 35. And what I now see is that that was very, very acute burnout. That was when it
Wow.
was like, right, shut down. You've done too much. It's time to take some time out. But I just didn't have the language and I didn't have the understanding. And in terms of burnout, you know, I don't know. I think I fly very close to the sun, is what I would
Yeah.
say. Um, I don't, and I think again, this is why it's such a complex conversation because I only know my experience of it, and I don't know what it feels like for other people. I'm also not a doctor,
Yeah, well,
so
let's hear yours and I'll tell you mine.
okay. I think for me, things just start to get harder. So
Right.
things that I would normally enjoy, I'm having to literally pull myself up by the bootstraps, drag myself along, make myself do. So I think for me, probably the first sign of getting a bit burny is that things that would normally take me a certain amount of time take me 3 times longer, and they're a bit like pulling teeth
Yes.
point, what I really notice is my emotional dysregulation is off the scale. So things are making me cry very, very easily.
You're just on the verge.
Yeah, or like getting very frustrated or very offended. Good old RSD.
Oh.
Everything's upsetting me. Can you believe they wrote that in that email? Everything is upsetting me.
Offended.
Yeah. But apart from that, really, as I say, um, I feel that for me, because obviously when we get to that kind of the burnouts knocking, a lot of people would say, rest, take some time out, blah blah blah. Again, my experience is very different. The reason why I'm burnt out, I have found for myself, which will be very different to other people's experiences, is that I haven't been doing anything fun. All I've been doing is working. So it's not so much rest. I'm not much of a rester. I don't think I've ever had more than 5 hours sleep in one go in my life. Not about rest. It's
No.
about filling your cup or using your brain for something other than work and stress. And
Yes.
so I need to go and have a nice time and actually being around people and having some fun and doing something that isn't work related is what rejuvenates me and brings me back, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. How about
Yeah.
you?
For me, it's super high functioning. Like I'll have five different AIs open at the same time doing stuff.
Yeah.
Like for those 2 weeks there, I was just super. I was like working till like, 11:30 from crazy time in the morning. But like, and it's almost like, and I don't know if you've ever experienced taking a drug of any kind, and
Mhm.
you ever like hype and then you pop out the bubble the next day and you can't look at things that you did
Yeah.
when you were on the Raven stuff. You're like, "Ah, I can't. What was that? I can't look at that." So like for me, just there, it was like I wasn't in the room. Like if you were talking to me, I was like kind of like wild behind the eyes, just a wee bit
Yeah.
on like seriously like an elastic band. I mean, I have wrote a book, I've done an app, all in like 2 weeks. Like I'm looking at this book now going, oh my God, what the fuck? I can't even read it. I'm just like, I can't even, I've
Yeah.
got it here. I've got the proof copy. It's on Amazon. It's down. I've got the cover. I've designed it. I've done an app. I've been like, what the fuck happened there in those 2 weeks? Because I've been crazy. It's almost like a mad blank out of stuff's happened.
So
I'd
it's
like, did
like
I
what
sleep?
you're talking about is the boom bust cycle, or what?
Yes.
Another one. So that's what Megan Burke's coaching, who's amazing. She calls it the boom bust cycle. Another person who I love is Amanda Perry, and she calls it God mode. So
What
what
is
you're talking about is God mode, where you think you can do anything and everything, and you do all the
Yeah,
things, you do all of it, all of it, all of it, and then you crash, or you
yes.
realize that it wasn't that good an idea after
Yeah,
all.
what the fuck's going on there? But I was like you unraveling and becoming very like I don't really cry much and I was like teary and like just acting like a fucking just bonkers really. And I'm like,
So
whoa, and it just
how did you come out of it?
um I don't know how I came out of it. I just came out of it as if like what you'd just been out on the rave and then woke up the next day and then been like, did
Much
I
less
say that?
fun.
Did I say that? It wasn't me. Do you know what I mean? My wife going like that. Do you remember what you did on Tuesday? And I'm like, no. So I just came out of it and then like now looking back going, fuck, I'll need to really get zoned in on the signs because now I think back it was probably happening for a couple of weeks up until the crazy 2 week peak. Now I
Yeah.
have a book.
You actually have a book. Have
I've
you
got
done
a book. Do you want to see the front cover?
please? Oh my God, I love it. How did you do that?
In 2 weeks. Oh, have you not? Oh, I can show you how to do that on Amazon.
Oh, you did it on Amazon. That's incredible. That's so cool.
But that was when I was out for coffee with my kids. So I'm meant to be taking the kids shopping, but I just sat for 6 hours, not moving, didn't go to the toilet, nothing, and just
Okay.
wrote that book.
Full
And
hyper
then
focus.
now I
Yeah.
can't read it. I'm like, I can't look inside the covers of that book for a wee while
Oh,
because it's just
bless
weird though,
you.
isn't it? And I guess that's just functioning like the
Yeah.
burnout, like what you said.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I'm going to look that up definitely.
But the
The
thing
the
about burnout is for a lot of people is kind of like a
hmm
depression that comes over them and they have to stop. Some people feel burnout very physically, like being physically exhausted, like chronic fatigue or aches
yes.
and pains, and just literally, everything is walking through treacle. Yeah.
Yeah. And like what you said, I used to feel it physically. So I used to get like almost like a flu for a week where I would
Oh
be
God,
like,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'd be in my bed and I'd actually quite look forward to it. It used to happen the same time every year because I know that it would just mean I had to lie down for like a couple of days. So I'd be like, oh, good, it's almost time for me to get not well. But that didn't it's not happened for a couple of years, but this probably around the same time has happened. So like February, March, I kind of get this illness, but now it's not manifested as a physical illness this time, just a
Okay.
book and weird other things going on.
Well, do you know what? I don't care what you say. Massive congrats on the book. I've got to. I hope
I'm
you
going to burn it. I'm not doing it. I'm not reading that thing, man.
good. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So just a wee thing before I do let you go, because I know you've got your call. Perimenopause,
Yes, that's fun.
disaster, shit
Yeah.
sandwich.
So basically, I would say, like many people, perimenopause is when my symptoms really, really kicked off. So we know from multi-hormone sensitivity theory that as the estrogen levels drop, our ADHD symptoms are out of control. So, for so many of us, not for all of us, again. So for so many of us, we're finding out later in life because our inbuilt or overtime coping strategies that we might not even have realized that we'd created are suddenly impossible to keep up, and it's impossible to keep the mask off, and everything gets really, really
Yes.
difficult. So, for me, perimenopause, like, I didn't used to forget what I was talking about mid-sentence up until I was probably about 35. Like the other symptoms of ADHD were present, but I would never forget what I was talking about. And now it happens all the
Wow, really?
yeah, yeah, it does. Which is frustrating. And I mean, I am on HRT now, and I have,
Progesterone as well, or just
so
estrogen?
it's the combined patch.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've found that really, really helpful. It has helped me a lot. Um, I'm gonna perhaps explore some different eventualities just because I don't really like having a sticker on my butt. Not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, it's really not. And I'm also kind of nervous to try anything else. I've heard that some women or some people with ADHD struggle with progesterone. You know,
Yeah.
like I've got a lot of responsibility and very little time on my hands. I really could do without. going
Ye-
crackers right now.
Yeah, but
So
it's very mixed that, by the way, because some women do really well on progesterone.
yes, exactly.
You know, that woman, Kate with the frizzy hair. This is what
Mm.
I do as well. I don't have, you'll be Laura eyeliner to me now because I have
I
to give
like
people
it. It's a good
nicknames.
identifier. I'll take it.
But
Yes.
with the big
Yeah.
podcast about ADHD as well, and she said progesterone changed her life for the better.
Yes. For some it does, for some it doesn't.
I
And
know.
women are
What?
also on testosterone as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a bit
Um,
blurry though. That's a wee bit murky.
oh God,
That.
completely. I haven't gone down that road, but I think it's fascinating. I've just had Dr. Helen Wall uh,
Hmm.
on the podcast. She's one of the BBC breakfast doctors, and
Cool.
she's talking about ADHD, hormones, perimenopause, and menopause because that is the topic of April's ADHD AF Plus Charity peer support
Brilliant.
groups.
That's so.
Yeah, so we're talking about it, getting people to share their experiences, because really it's one of the topics I was most looking forward to doing. Because in the online community, all of the different Discord channels are obviously the main things that people want to speak
Hmm.
about. And so that has informed the topics of the support groups. These are
That's
the things
cool.
that people most want to talk about. So it's really lovely because I've watched for so many years people supporting each other with that, people that are being dismissed because of the lack of training, the lack of
Yeah, not much
um,
research done.
yeah, the lack of research, yeah, that people are like, oh, you're too young. Oh, your bloods are fine. All of these
Oh, the
people get
bloods are
dismissed.
fine.
Yeah,
No, I know.
yeah,
Listen, I know. I know. I have a
yeah,
lot of clients who are neurodivergent, and I can't
yeah.
train them and coach them the same way as somebody that's not. They just find their stop and
Yes.
starty, nothing's worked. They've just got the food noise. Everything has to be different for them.
Oh,
But
you've
like you
just cut
said, it's
out.
oh, sorry.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear and see you.
Okay. For some reason, everything just went out of time and you went all silent. So I heard you up into the bit that was you can't train and coach them in the same
Yes,
way.
it's like your ice cream factory. It's like everyone is
Yeah.
different, and especially with perimenopause
Yeah.
thrown into the mix, at best, it's really difficult. So, a couple of things that you do then to be productive and take care of yourself. I'll tell you mine. I exercise every day. I think that that's really helpful.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've really, really struggled with motivation, and I'm sorry to lower the tone, but my mum passed away last
I'm
January.
sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so from that point, I just really, really struggled with exercise, and I can't explain why. There's no logical reason why, but I just didn't have the spoons, which doesn't make sense because I know that doing it would have made me feel better. But
Hmm.
I'm finally, thankfully,
Good.
out the other side. So I actually did a workout this morning.
Well done.
I
There you
know.
go. There's you smug, you feeling dopamine full. Like,
But
honestly, you should do it. It doesn't need to be a showstopper every single
yeah,
workout. It doesn't need to be perfect.
exactly. Do you
You
know what?
just,
Do you want to know what I did? This is my favorite thing to do when I really can't be asked. It's just something fun. So there's this guy called Caleb Marshall. Have you heard of him?
no, because
Uh,
he's a man, he's off my
Yeah,
radar.
yeah, but he's great. Very, very lovely guy. Very camp guy who does these amazing dance routines to things like Britney.
Okay.
But they're quite high energy, so it is a good workout, but it's actually fun, and you sort of can pretend you're Britney, and
So
he's
you
really
did that
funny.
today.
So I did that today, but they're kind of like as long as the song is like 3 minutes or something. So I did, I don't know, however many. I did about half an hour's worth. So I did work up a good sweat and stretch off. So it's like that's my trick yourself into exercise where it's like, well, it's
Okay.
not even exercise. I'm just gonna have a
You're
little dance
just,
with some
yeah,
songs.
it's just you raving again. What
Yeah,
about the weight training or anything? Can you not get into it? Are you like, oh,
yeah, I can. Do you know, I think the truth is I just find I find gyms quite intimidating. And
yeah,
I think that that is definitely a confidence thing.
yes.
I do have some weights here, so occasionally I do use them, but yeah, like I say, I did get really fit there for a little while there a couple of years ago, and then this last year just took me
Did
out.
you? Yeah. And
I
as
feel like
well,
I'm really ready because I know that I need to. I had a little flare up in like December of what I think was frozen shoulder, and it really scared me because I was like, I know
you
that
don't
that
want
could
that.
be one of the
Yeah.
symptoms of perimenopause, but I
Hmm.
was like, this is really painful. Like this
Yeah,
is enough
this is
about
bad. Uh-huh.
it. Yeah.
And that
So
is a wee bit of a fright, yeah.
yeah, it was a fright. So now that kind of gave me the kick up the butt to start moving again. So yeah, I do like doing I know that weights are better, but I do like doing more aerobic-y stuff because
That's
that's
fine. Just do weights
speed,
faster.
yeah, speed and tempo that I move
Yeah,
at.
but I mean, I do my weights all bang, bang, bang together and fast, almost like little mini circuits. Like, you're not going to get me kicking about slow. So you should do it though. I'm telling you, that would
Yeah,
be great. And weights in the house with somebody with ADHD isn't ideal because then you're just in drawers trying little things on when you should be doing your workout. That's what I've found with my clients who have neuro at best, you know, they're doing weird things.
you seen that meme where they're like, oh, I went in to tidy my room and then just
Yes.
with like
Ah.
banjo and a fucking song going.
Yes, we just went to do your fucking workout, and now you're like texting me pictures. This was my wedding dress 10 years ago. I'm like, "Ah, it's you should be doing a fucking workout right now." Do you know what I mean? So that's the only thing I will say. Yes, weights in the house. I think you should get a podcast in, chill out, and go to the gym.
Go to the gym. Yeah.
Do weights. You're in the environment. Listen, it's pumping music, rave tunes.
Do you know what? But if all else fails, I do really like going for a massive stomp and I'll
Yeah,
walk
okay.
far. Like that's one of the things I miss about living in Aberdeen is that I would walk one end of the promenade right to the other, right up the cliffs,
Yeah,
and
lots of
then walk
nature.
back. So it was about 6 miles.
Yeah.
And I'd walk it like along the beach, stomping along, listening to rave music. And I do feel like I really I enjoy doing it. It's like something you can do whatever the weather, as long as you're wrapped up warm. And I enjoy listening to the music, and it kind of helps me get ideas as well
Yeah, a
as a
hundred percent.
starting.
That's
Yeah,
that's that's what it's all about. And then you could just 2 times a week do weight training because you
yeah.
have came up with loads of. But I like walking. Well, that's cool. But the weights are
The weights
definitely
are
get
still not
yourself
enough
in there.
in the
Get
house.
it done. Right, I will let you go because you've got your call coming up at half
Oh,
past, don't you? Thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed that. I loved that.
no, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's really lovely to meet you. And yeah, very
Oh,
exciting.
I
Thank you.
hope we cross paths again
Yes,
at some
definitely. Where are
point.
you? Where are you based?
I'm in just outside of Glasgow.
Okay. Are you anywhere near Ayr?
I mean, it's an hour away.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
we've
not
got
bad.
a support group in area. I was just going to say you could go along because
That's
it's
cool.
yeah, it's not like I said, you don't have to have a diagnosis. You can just go and hang out, and it's nice people.
Is it all adults or is there
Yeah,
kids?
yeah, it's adults only. It's over 18s.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah, we're an adults charity, and there are some adult themes, sometimes.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, share your stuff anyway, and hopefully
Thank
you
you.
reach others because it's so good to talk and just share this stuff, isn't it?
Oh,
Because we can only
100%.
laugh about it, man.
Where are you? Are you in a studio? Are you in a podcasting studio?
This is my little office.
It's very
Do you
swish.
like it?
I like it. It looks really totes profesh, proper
Yeah,
podcasting studio. I
little
love
mine. Mm-hmm.
it.
Got to look the part, do you know what I mean? All the chaos, you should see it when you can't see on the camera though. There's fucking wigs over there. It's mental in here. But here it does look very calm.
It does. It does.
I
Well,
know.
thank you so, so much. I've loved being a guest.
Thank you, Laura, mate. Right, take care of yourself and we'll speak soon.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.